All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Two Planker Podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Schaefer, and today in the show we have Jacob Dube. And Dube, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad we're making this happen. You unashamed to say, hey, you should interview the behind-the-scenes guys at Line. You were just like, whatever, let's do it. And I was like, you know what? I need someone this week.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be on. To be completely honest, I kind of was about to be like, let's bring all the fucking Lions squad on and show you how chaotic we really are. But I'm pretty much the most amount of ADHD anybody wants to see in one podcast. So I was like, let's stick to one psychopath for this particular pod.
Yeah, I think with the Mill Bastards episode we did, that was the most guests we've ever had. That was 3 guests and 1 me for 4 people total. And that's too many people. I think one-on-one is ideal.
Yeah, no, you start getting a lot of those cooks in the kitchen, and everybody wants to have their little shining moment. And the Mill Bastards guys are pretty damn crazy. I haven't met most of them, so you can imagine that was a little off the rails. But I'm gonna try to keep my ADHD and the 2 Red Bulls I had before this little more hinged than usual. But I know that's not gonna happen too long. So.
Yeah, and honestly, when you have more than one guest, we're just getting right into meta podcasting right now. When you have more than one guest, they need to be completely comfortable with each other, or else it's I ask a question, then they're looking at each other. All right, who's gonna answer this one? So
yeah, no,
again, one-on-one.
It's kind of funny you say that too, because like one thing I noticed coming into like Line skis, like when you get on the road, like for Blister Gear Review Summit, Free Skier Mag, like a lot of times you see these other brands, and this isn't a bash at any other brands, but like you see other brands, you see other companies in out of the ski world talking about their product, and like some of them have never met. Like some of them are from the East Coast division and the West Coast division, like, and then they're meeting together to talk about a product. But like that's the fun thing to it, like Line, to compare it to like having somebody else on the podcast. If I had like Stephen Hart, our global brand manager, or Connor Clayton, our marketing director here, it's not like talking over each other. We're just so in sync, and that's like that kind of cool thing. But I just thought of that right now because it's like we're in the office, and I feel like I've known these guys for like 30 years, like, and I'm just turned 29, so negative 1 years old.
I thought that like the Misfit Skis guys, those guys, I warned them ahead of time, like, hey, kind of plan out who answers what question. I thought they did that well. I thought that Hunter and Owen did the Soul Star episode well. So that's just some thoughts about multiple guests on at a time. We'll try in person. I know we briefly mentioned maybe doing this in person at the Lion Skis office. I think in person's the way to do multiple people.
Yeah, you got to do it that way. Like I said, too many cooks in the kitchen. There's all these bubbles and shit, and it's just, it's already chaotic. So
yeah. All right, well, we'll get this back on track. Dube, what's up, dude? How's life in the office?
Dude, pretty good. Ski season's kind of zipping in the spring right now, so a lot of the big things we do at Line are kind of simmering right now as we really get ready for that trajectory for fall launch. Which fall, late summer, we kind of equate those to be the same. But yeah, right now it's just kind of riding a lot of waves of getting athletes ready for summer, spring skiing, summer camps. You got Momentum Copper, and Wendell's going off here soon. So just making sure all these assets are in play for our website launch, but then on the back end, making sure the athletes that are still ripping have skis, have some of those new skis to show off those F23 graphics that'll drop in the fall. That real coordinated launch that's going to excite people, but also keep people skiing because, in a freestyle environment, these athletes are going to rip through skis regardless. Like it's gonna be a long summer here, but like making sure everybody has the gear, whether that's for new content stuff we're going to create over the summer or vice versa, is pretty key. But that's been a lot of my time right now and kind of a super nutshell there for what we're up to.
Yeah. So give people the whole rundown. What is like your job title? Because that's one thing. And then like, what do you actually do?
Yeah, no, I'm the master of all unforeseen chaos. Basically at Line, kind of how the pecking order works is this. We have our global brand manager, Stephen Hartle. He's going to oversee all executive brand decisions, the direction of the brand, where we're going with things, and definitely a lot of sales stuff in terms of the global scope of things. Then below that, attached is Chris Todd, our U.S. sales manager, so he'll deal with sales stuff. But more related to me is Connor Clayton, directly above me, is the marketing director. So he'll oversee, basically, I execute his vision in terms of global, or in terms of all the marketing you're going to see. But then I basically get to put that flavor on it that you more or less will see in hand with Connor. But in a nutshell, what I do is pretty simple. I run Line Skis on Instagram. I'm basically the voice of what you hear on all social media platforms there for coming from us, anything front facing. And then, I act as basically the team manager to some degree. Me and Connor do share that role. Connor will deal with most of the contracts and stuff on the high level athletes, but act as kind of a hand-in-hand team manager with Connor. I'm in the texts at 2 a.m. When they get athletes are getting a little spicy and want some skis, or something crazy's happened. That's a pretty big role that I take on, is coordinating some logistics stuff with the athletes. So being just the atypical team manager for that, this role builds in social media guy, team manager, and then I'm a photographer as well. So I'll help fill in a few holes here, but no man's an island. So I'm not relying on my photo skills to get this job done here at Line. We've got other photographers we work with. It's pretty much what I do in a nutshell, is just run the Instagram and make sure our athletes have everything they fucking need to go kick ass out there. So
That was beautifully put. I thought that was you could tell that you're a corporate guy. You had that well trained right there.
Yeah, I'm not wearing any pants right now either, so I'm pretty corporate. But
No, that's great. That's great. Let's see. Where do we want to take it, Dube? Do you want to do a little history on yourself? Let's do that, because people are going to look at your job and they're going to say, damn, that job sounds awesome. And that sounds like a legit job in the ski industry, one they could actually make a career out of. So let's do a little history of you real quick before we start getting stories about people DMing you at 3 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so everybody knows, I've been on a million Tinder and Hinge dates over the last month. So I've had to do this like 90 times rehearsing for this. So I've condensed it into this sexy little package for you guys. So pretty easy. When I was going through, when I was going through high school, my dad works for the Baltimore Ravens. He does pro football video ops. So basically all the footage you don't see on TV that the players use to like do A, B, and C, blah, 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 blah. I didn't do any of that cool shit. I was basically like the locker room boy that like picked up their pads, did all that shit. And I worked training camps for the Baltimore Ravens over the summers from like 15 to like basically like 18. And that ended up kind of folding into a role during the season. So I actually would travel with the Baltimore Ravens and essentially help analyze play formations on the sideline during Ravens games, a home and away, for like 2 years towards the end of my high school career. At that same time, I was kind of like, fucking around with the camera, had no path, or all I knew was I wanted to be an adventure photographer. It was always in the back of my head. When I got my license, I was in the fucking wilderness. I was out exploring and yada, yada, yada. And then, pretty much that was all happening in the NFL. I was doing that. And then, college appeared out of nowhere. And I was like, shit, I guess I got to get some real skills to do something. My parents are pushing me. Ended up going to school and completely fucking sucking at college. Very proud to say a happy little 2.4 GPA. And I never graduated, which is an awesome story that'll bleed into like where I ended up and how this all like came to be. I was going to college, just doing like a creative major in entrepreneurial like studies. That went nowhere. Ended up going into public relations, shifting majors, and being like, dude, you know what? I'm starting to like really like this photography shit. This could be really cool to like pair with something to actually get a job. Because at that time, I'm just taking photos of my friends who are models, or like, the girl down the street who just really wanted to come hang out and take photos. And I was like, oh my God, this is a weapon for mass destruction. But it really ended up like kind of taking me somewhere, was skiing. I was always skiing like in my free time just for shits and giggles at the local home mountain. Ski Liberty, baby. We love it. South Central Pennsylvania. And yeah, I was fucking bailing classes all the time to go take photos of snowboarders and the skiers there. Literally, I mean, I'm talking a lot of classes. Like I missed like 20 days of school, just fucking deject, like, you know, riding the motorcycle around, being a little bastard. Yeah, it was pretty wild at that time too. I was outside of high school, you know, so I'm in college. I need to make money. Hey, when you hear, oh, my dad works for the Baltimore Ravens, you're like, oh, this fucking guy got his parents are loaded. Yeah, my parents are fucking loaded. And I'll tell you who they don't give any goddamn money to is me. They have been, you know, they have helped me out in certain situations, but nope. Papa Jake here worked a Tractor Supply for his first fucking job. I'm talking getting the little baby chickens out to people and all this. They can tell you the difference between a Ford 8N oil filter and a regular Ford 8 oil filter. They do fit on the same chassis, you know, all that stuff. So I was kind of out of my element for the first time. Like growing up high school, kind of had it all right there. And then my parents were like, go get a fucking job. Like you got to go figure it out. So a lot of things started happening. Explained a bunch of different things that are all kind of happening at once. Working Tractor Supply at school for marketing and public relations, but I can never focus on school. I'm at the ski resort taking photos with this, you know, pretty shitty camera I got at the time. And yeah, next thing you know, my mom lost my free tuition benefits at school because she was working there, happened to get a job at school. So I had free tuition, lost her benefits. The school was like, yo, you're fucked. Like we're going to give you one semester. Like, here you go. Like, sorry, we fucked you. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for school because that sounds like a lot. So yeah, essentially I bulked up on a bunch of photo classes that sounded badass and public relations classes relating to social media. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to like take the biggest scoop I can before I get kicked in the ass out the door. Whether that was by school or my parents that were like getting ready to. What happened next is pretty fucking crazy. Worked for a headband company that had this proprietary headband technology, really crazy. And then, I fucking blew up their like little social following they had. And then all of us kind of mutinied and left the company because the owner was kind of crazy and she was hitting on me and it was scary. You know, I'm a little young bull. This cougar was, anyway, long story short, left that situation. I'm going to try to fast forward this a little bit because I don't want to bore people here. I want you to have an exciting story. But yeah, I am now out of my ass from this little job. I've literally dropped out of school. I'm living the fucking Steve Jobs right now. I don't have the turtleneck, but goddamn, do I have some energy to do some cool shit. And yeah, my dad like hits me up and is like, yo, dude, some homies in Pittsburgh like have this opportunity with this company called DV Sport. They do all the technology and the Surface tablet systems. And my dad's like, yeah, they need a fucking bullshit intern. Sorry for all the cussing you're gonna have to put out or put in.
Nah, we keep it in.
We stay raw here because Jake's the most core guy in the ski world. But yeah, no. Long story short, go move out to Pittsburgh for this job opportunity. I'm like helping officiate NCAA and SEC like these conferences for college football and helping out with some of this technology that goes in the Surface tablet. Mind you guys, I don't know shit about any of this technology shit. I literally got a lucky opportunity. I adapted and I just fucking, I don't know, I was in Pittsburgh trying to fucking make friends and I didn't have a lot of them. Just do this job. And I remember a really big defining moment for me, if you're kind of following along, everybody, is like, I remember I'm at this job in Pittsburgh. I had moved there in that August, you know, out of my ass. Like, what do I go back to school? What do I do? And well, I remember it was a few months after I'd moved to Pittsburgh. Didn't really have a lot of friends and was sitting there one day and I couldn't stop watching like edits, like ski edits. Like I was watching some old Wallisch edits, like just fucking, that's all I do in the back room. And I just remember my boss walked in at the time and he's like, you know what, Jake, I don't think this is for you. He's like, there's something about you. He's like, there's something. He's like, you're always trying to go adventure. You're trying to do this. He's like, I don't know this is the place to do all these things you want to do. And like, no later than that, like I stayed with the company like a month longer and then worked remote for them. That I was like, without a doubt, like putting in a fucking literal envelope here. Like if you ever want to do something, there's one thing you take away from this episode. I'm not kidding you. Go get a fucking piece of paper right now, write down something you want to do, and just go hide it somewhere in your room. Real good thing to do. And I totally did that. But yeah, I ended up moving back home, pretty bummed out. And yeah, I ended up getting this little contract gig for Major League Soccer to help them with Sony's Hawkeye bullshit, the instant replay for soccer. I hate soccer. I'm sorry, guys, if you're soccer fans, but it's so boring. They're all talking British to me. I didn't understand shit they were saying. And meanwhile, I'm this like league tech liaison on a contract gig until that September to help with Major League Soccer. And then, yeah, next thing you know, did that whole assignment, and I'm applying everywhere in the ski world. I'm like Woodward Copper, fucking like Keystone at the time because it was popping off, and like all these cool places. I'm like, I had this crazy dream, and my parents were like fucking totally like, what are you doing? I'm applying at every major resort you can think of, every media job with like this little fucking track record being like, maybe if I could just get on Park Crew and put this now expensive FX camera I got in my backpack, maybe I could fucking be somebody. Maybe I could do this adventure photography thing for a living. I was like, damn, maybe I could do that. Well, it's all funny how it all works out because this is where shit gets wild. I'm literally working this dead-end contract job. It ends, and it is September. I have applied at literally 50 fucking resorts. Nobody got back to me. Absolutely nobody. Except this Boston accent motherfucker, Ryan McCallum up at Sunday River. He's like, hey, bub, pretty fucking overqualified for this job. Why you want to be a park ranger up at Sunday River? And I was like, well, I don't know. It seems like you guys have a park Instagram. It'd be kind of cool to take that over. He's like, I don't know about that, but like, you know, you can bring your camera and take some cool photos and shit. And I was like, fuck, sign me up. So sold my motorcycle, sold pretty much everything that I had at the time. I got a job up at Sunday River up in Maine. End up hopping on Park Crew up there for a season, literally living in a fucking shack at the, I'm talking like in efficiency at the bottom of the mountain, literally using a griddle that I plugged in to like cook. And like, it was hellish. God bless those Tinder girls that came over. They probably thought I was a fucking like goddamn peasant living in squalor. But anyway, and all my friends did too. So that's why they always let me come chill at the park house, which was dope. But yeah, no, I go up there, work a season. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because we're jumping on a few of these points, but living up at Sunday River for an entire year. I had my camera in my bag every day, and I just made it my dream to like take as many fucking dope photos for the mountain. The mountain let me run the Instagram for the parks page when, literally, I got there first night I got there. I took Milky Way photos over the resort because I was bored. And then a cougar scared me in the bushes. So I like hurried up and fucking scurried down the mountain because there was a fucking cougar up there. It was scary. And yeah, no, I showed the photos of the resort. They let me run the parks Instagram for the resort. It grew up by like 4,000 followers. Like fucking pretty dope. And then I was getting featured on like Ski of the East, like a few good photos. And then a few other brands were like picking up some of the stuff here and there. And yeah, towards the end of the season, I kept telling everybody, I'm like, I'm going to go out to Wendell's. My dream is now to be a photographer out at Wendell's for the summer. That's like so cool. And I saw like all these guys taking photos out there. And I was like so pumped to like go out. I pulled every string I could, tried to get out there. My lease ends up running out at Sunday River, and I'm pretty like bummed. And I'm like, fuck, I have no backup plan. So I moved back home for literally 2 weeks, and I am like royally depressed. Like I am so sad. I'm like, I just got all these photos. I got these photos everywhere. This is so sick. And I'm like just fucking so sad. Like I'm out trying to take some photos, making some extra money in that 2 weeks I'm home. And out of the like the whole story how I got to where I'm at is just a bunch of like happenstance weird bullshit. Next thing you know, I get home and like those 2 weeks later, Ryan calls me and he's like, hey, there's this guy Weasel. He told me he works at fucking Hood, and he's like, yeah, they need another guy on Park Crew out there for the summer. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, when do I gotta be out there? He's like, like 5 days. And I was like, fuck yeah, pack that Nissan Rogue fucking thick. Drove out there, literally met up with my buddy Hayden Weeks, who was this like, you know, young swervy guy up at Mount Hood, just fucking biggest ski bum ever, playing the guitar, long ass hair, like never met the guy. And I was like, I just messaged him on the DMs. I'm like, yo, dude, you want to get a fucking spot? I got a gig on Park Crew out at Mount Hood. I know it's not the Wendell's gig I had mentioned. Like, that would have been sick, but fuck it. And so him and I got a place for $500. I was sleeping on the bed in the back. He was sleeping on the couch all summer down in rhododendron. I got this little spot. I mean, it was the size of like wall to wall here. It was so tiny. And goddamn Hayden, there was so much spliff material everywhere all the time, dude. It was great. But yeah, no, next thing you know, finish out that whole summer. Yeah, again, trying to fast forward this because there's a lot here, but it's good to know. Next thing you know, I'm talking to this girl in like Southern Washington, right outside of Portland. And she's like, I'm like, hey, yeah, I got to move back home. I'm fucked. Like Park, like the season ended, this and that. She's like, dude, you want to come move into my tiny house with me? And I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds dope. So I end up going live with this girl in her tiny house for like 2 months. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to find a job out here, be a West Coast boy now. Well, you know what? I think the stars were telling me otherwise. And I ended up applying at Seven Springs as a train park marketing coordinator, which some fucking awesome people have had that role. Yeah, fucking pretty dope train parks. Went out there. I'm going to super fast forward now. Went out there, did the train parks, like basically was their media guy for the winter, coordinating like the Snowboarder Mag project there and stuff, bringing on like Dylan Hodak, go Hodak, fucking all these people to like be involved with everything. That's where I first met Wallisch because he was on like the park team. So Tom Wallisch, met him there. He's on park team. The resort pays him a certain amount of money to be kind of the face of Seven Springs out there. And then, yeah, that was my first touch with him and first touch with Andy Perry, which I begged and pleaded for Traveling Circus to come to the resort because there's literally in the fucking van a no-go list for resorts, and Seven Springs was on there for reasons I'm not going to mention in this podcast. So fucked. But yeah, no, super, super long story short, did that somehow. Like one of my idols, Goofy Goose on fucking on the old gram there, amazing photographer. I always looked up to him, and he wasn't doing the photo gig at Wendell, so I went out there, and Jason Aarons now on Surface. Always pretty much been doing that. I was like, dude, yeah, you want to come out and be the photographer? But funny story, I got to mention this quick little thing that happened. At the end of my season at Seven Springs, I unfortunately went off a 70-foot jump and landed about 30 fucking feet too deep off the spot jump too. And royally shattered my not my ACL. I also did that, but royally shattered my collarbone. And I got out of surgery like a few weeks later, and the guy's like, dude, you can't fucking ski this summer. Like you got like extra shatter here. You're fucked. And I was like, I'm going to Mount Hood. They said I'm the photographer guy. So went out there for the summer, kicked ass. That's how I got my first real feel of everything. If there's an inspiring moment of this whole fucking podcast or anybody, it's these next 3 quick things I'm going to say. I went out to Wendell's. I got to shoot with the biggest fucking pros possible out there. And by the way, a precedent to all this, when I was first out at Mount Hood, I was in the pro park shooting with a lot of people. So that's how I got the gig with Seven Springs, was like shooting with some of the athletes. Like first person I shot there was like Maggie Voice, and had no clue who she was at the time. I just remember like getting posted up on a verified account. I was like, whoa, I'm a little dirty park crew guy with a camera. That was cool. But anyway, flash forward, Wendell's went successful. I'm like shooting with all these big pros. It's so sick getting to meet all these people. And then I have nothing to show for it job-wise after. I'm on my ass again. I moved back to Pennsylvania, and I'm literally like as low as you could possibly be. I'm like, I just had the summer of my life out here. This was so amazing. What did I do wrong? Like, why didn't this work? Why can't I be an adventure photographer? Why can't I work for a brand? Why? Like, I've done this. I've paid my dues. Well, that's the thing. Like, there's no roadmap for anybody out there. And the biggest thing anybody I want to take away from this podcast is that, like, there's no roadmap for anybody out there. Fuck what anybody else is doing. You might suck 2 years more than you're supposed to, but who cares? There's no path for anyone. But lo and behold, did social media for this car company, CJ Pony Parts, fucking random. I know nothing about cars or any of that stuff, but I did social there, and it was a sandbox for social media and fucking up, and I fucked up a lot, but I figured out all these things with social media and good marketing practices, and did a lot of research on my own for this year after Wendell's, and it was a good year and a half out of the ski industry that I needed to refresh, recharge, get these skills that I didn't have from thinking that, oh, I was going to be given everything on a silver plate because I shot at Wendell's or stuff and whatnot. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. I needed more skills. That job out of the ski industry was part of the next big step with what happened to like Line then and whatnot. So yeah, I'm working for this dead end fucking Mustang company that just is like making me lose my mind working with cars. And yeah, Jaren's had been flowing me like skis for surface. And I remember I went up to Corinthia for this amazing long weekend with like some of the 860 guys were like there, and it was so sick shooting. I was like on the surface skis, shot a few of the surface guys that like randomly just riding skis. Maybe they weren't surface guys, but yeah, I just remember then all of a sudden fucking Jaren's with surface hits me up, and he was like, dude, you want to come shoot the 21-22 assets for surface? And I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds so sick. Go out there. I'm like so stoked. And right before I went, I just remember I wrote it down. I was like, this is your last fucking opportunity to get into the ski world. Make it count. And I put it in a notebook and closed that shit. And I went out to Hood and I just put everything onto the table. I was like, I'm just going to try to take some badass fucking photos out here for Hood. And then, yeah, I did that. And then I get home and I'm now depressed again. I'm like, I just had an amazing time with all these guys out at Hood. Like, what in God's name am I doing? Why can't I make this work? And lo and behold, you just got to kind of stick to your guns. I had forgotten that I had applied for Line for this position to be the social media, like marketing coordinator specialist guy. And yeah, I just get an email while I'm on a shoot with a Spotify artist. It's from Stephen Hartle, my boss. And it's like, hey, yeah, can we interview you? And I was like, hell yeah. And I'll never forget, like, I still got it ingrained in my head. I'm literally at my parents' house. They like bought a bed and breakfast. I'm literally in this back like farm part of the fucking thing. And I hop on a call with them. And again, they might think differently of this, but like I swear to God, like 20 seconds on that call after talking to them, I was like, I know I'm the guy for this. Like, I know I want to be here. And I could tell that I think they felt the same way right out the gate. So yeah, we've been there ever since. Yeah, I know that's a little long-winded. If you made it this far, fuck yeah, good for you for listening to a story. My ADHD would not have let me listen to somebody ramble about their life this long, but so yeah, that's it. And now I'm in Seattle. They relocated me out here. Woo, you're in my basement. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Dude, first of all, great story. I love when I can just sit and listen for a little while. I think that story is like the textbook example of trying to work any job in media. It's like, I mean, I resonated with this so much when you said like, oh, I just got off the best project of my life and now there's nothing like what happened? Like I was like 2 months ago, I was doing exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And now there's nothing to show for it. But you know, the truth is that you have that experience under your belt and those skills, but it is just so frustrating at times.
Dude, yeah, it really is something that like really impacted me, and I have to tap back into how that all happened, you know, at least once or twice a year and remind myself, I'm like, Jake, you're not owed fucking anything. Like I definitely think that sometimes, especially when you do something big, you get that big dopamine rush. You're like, oh, now everybody is gonna like give me what I want. It's like, no, you've got to keep working. You've got to keep charging forward. Like a path and momentum doesn't start from one singular clap. You got to keep fucking clapping. You got to keep going. But yeah, it still sucks though. It's like, it's just like a little tease. It's like a little tickle. You're like, oh, that was cool. And then you're like, well, where's the next tickle? And it never fucking happens. And then you cry for a bit. And
but dude, and then it always seems like, or at least in my experience, and it seems like your experience, you never see like that nice big gig coming up, or you never see like, oh, this next job opportunity. It's like you're down in the dumps big time, and then one day you just get an email and you're like, oh, perfect. Like I don't have to suffer anymore. At least I don't have to suffer for the next like 12 months or 6 months or however long the contract is.
Yeah, like whether it's jobs or like relationships or anything, I think the best relationships I've ever had are the ones that I'm like, fuck, I had no idea that was coming. Like it's just like slaps you. Like that's the type of stuff with work too. Jobs, contracts, gigs, whatever. That thing's gonna just sneak up on you. And when it sneaks up on you, like just sit there and like be a little mindful about it all. Like enjoy that. That's something really special. And I look forward to those things like every day when I can. Like those special little things that happen. Like I don't know how I got this lucky with any of this, like ever. And for anybody listening, like you said too, I mean, I know you have experience with this. Like, yeah, it'll happen to everybody. It'll happen. You just got to hold out. Like, just got to hold out a little longer. God damn. Emotional TED talk. You know, listen, hey, got to do a little Jake break here. Papa just stole the Red Bull cooler from the office. I'm not even fucking lying. So we need to have a little snap of the Coors Light here to mellow the mood. But yeah.
Yeah, I was going to share one of my stories with you actually, and I haven't told this on the podcast yet, so this adds to the lore a little bit. I was in, and this is just an example of just how random this crap can be sometimes. I was at Big Sky, summer 2021, on a trip that was supposed to take place March 2020. So we're going to go on a little family ski trip. Something called COVID happens March 2020, and then Big Sky's like, all right, listen, we'll keep your hotel credit. Show up at some point within the next like 24 months and you're good. Well, we were wasting time, and then we're like, shit, we got to use this credit, and it's summer, whatever, we'll just go out there for the summer. We went out there, then we're going to the top of I think it's called Lone Peak or whatever the main peak is there, and we're doing like a tour, and there's a tour group, and then we start talking to the people next to us, this woman and her daughter, and they're like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I work in TV. She's like, oh, my husband used to work in TV, now he does X, Y, and Z for Outside, which is like a company that a lot of people know, Outside Magazine. They have like a whole digital side. They're like, oh, she's like, oh, I'll put you in touch with him. Well, like we briefly get introduced that summer, whatever. 6 months goes by. I just quickly follow up over email or LinkedIn or whatever it was. And he's like, oh yeah, we actually need help with something. Here's like a 6-month contract that we need help with. And this all just randomly fell into place because like this woman just happened to be sitting next to me on this tour bus, and boom, it was like 6 months. It was awesome. We went to Texas and Utah and Florida and Colorado and all over the place making all this content, and then all of a sudden it's over, and you're like what the hell was that all about? You know, it's like you get like dizzy from it. It's like 6 months of just basically your dream job, and then all of a sudden you're looking for work again.
Yeah, and that's what happened to me, man. Like I can tell you, like when I was at Sunday River, like those guys there were like my fucking brothers by the end. Like I was going through it mentally. Like I was really fucking anxious and like down. And I was kind of going through some post-concussive syndrome shit from a nasty fall. And like those guys there were like my brothers. And that whole experience was like so defining. And then snap, I'm at Timberline with this whole new group of people I don't know. And then snap, I'm at Seven Springs with this whole new group of people I don't know. And every time too, like I can tell you from all those snaps that happened, whether you got contracts in your life, any of the problems you're having during that, it's just going to keep happening. If you continue to do certain things, you start to notice patterns about yourself pretty quick.
Yeah.
Which is probably the positive side of like doing that stuff over and over again, which, hey, no fault to some people though. I know you and I know there's people out there that live that life until they're fucking like 60, like contract. Like
yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. I think I'm just like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm a kilter out of being vanilla, like fully vanilla, but definitely not vanilla. But like some days I'm like, dude, why do I not want to do that? But I don't know. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of just being like not having that consistency, not having that comfort. It can really fuck with you. I think what I found out of like what we're talking about, if anybody else can relate to this, is like I fuck with the idea of having a home base. I love the idea of having this home base. Remember, just because you put your fucking roots somewhere doesn't mean that everything's fucked. Like you didn't have a kid, so you're good. No offense to anybody who's had a kid. Love you, Steven. My gold brand manager has 2 kids, and he's still kicking ass. And it's like fucking incredible that he runs line and he's got 2. Like I love it, but. Yeah, wherever you put you can put your feet down a little bit, you know? You don't have to keep running. You don't have to keep doing the contracts and stuff. And I tell that to a lot of the young guys in the ski world too, or just chasing park crew job, resort job. I'm like, listen, like, don't be afraid to put your feet down for a little bit. Like, even if it is doing a contract job in one location, like, start there, just stay in one area.
Yeah.
There's some people that, like, I'm at Whistler, now I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. I'm like, maybe try a few years at the same resort and see if you can break in something bigger there, or there's a community you can get involved in. So, again, no roadmap for success, as you found. It could be that random fucking person up on the mountain. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I hope I run into somebody cool. I hope I run into a fucking real famous guy that can hire me downtown so I don't have to work for Line anymore, that works for like some crazy MGM company. But no, I was joking. I love Line. But yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, we'll pivot. Well, enough talking about working in media.
Yeah.
Even
we're
though I
off
could
the
literally
TED
talk about
here.
I could talk about that all day long, dude, and that's all we talk about it. One last comment on that. When you're in that world of working contract to contract, gig to gig, the best part is everyone else around you is also doing the same thing for the most part. So there's a lot of camaraderie in that, like, you go to work like, hey, what did you just get
Very
off?
much.
Oh, hey, what's the next thing? Oh, who's hiring for that? Blah, blah, blah. I like that. I like the wheeling and dealing aspect of the whole thing. But we have to turn a corner at some point. And
Swipe us through.
let's talk about the athlete management side, because I think that's the funniest part of your job for sure, is dealing with all these guys, different guys and girls, but I just say guys is like the royal term.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, just like all the different personalities, all the different requests and requirements. I mean, do you have any just initial thoughts about that to start us off?
Hey, there's a reason they call me Papa Jake on the phone. When they call, no, not everybody does, but I swear a lot of these guys do. Yeah, no, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to make sure these guys have the best fucking time of their life being with Line Skis, because it is the coolest thing ever. This family we have is something special. Like, having been involved with some other ski brands, and done some other stuff, this will be the one time I slightly brush other brands. Is like, we are unique. We are so uniquely positioned to, like, be friends with these athletes, but still execute our mission and our job, and it not really deteriorate like our effectiveness. Like, just working with these athletes, I've been able to get so close to them, and I can tell you a million crazy, horrible, funny stories, and I can also tell you a million amazing ones of where, like, getting athletes skis last minute all worked out. It doesn't always go pen and paper. Things do not always go to plan. We've got back end stuff we got to deal with warehousing, getting skis to people. But yeah, in a nutshell, it is a very dynamic field trying to get people skis, whether that's somebody who broke a pair of skis right before X Games or something, and I got to call a local shop and be like, hey, can I send you a pair of skis? So-and-so needs a pair of skis, and we're fucked. And, like, I know my skis aren't going to get there in 5 minutes. So yeah, it's stuff like that. And again, 1,000,001 fun stories with that. But I'll be honest, when I started with the Line, I was scared shitless about that. You're like, oh, you're basically helping with all these athletes now. Connor being the most amazing boss ever, aside from his terrible fucking taste in house music. God damn it, it's so bad. He is so amazing at, like, turning that dimmer switch on with athlete management for me. Like, these guys, like, he definitely, like, slowly got me more and more involved, and then he kind of saw I got a good rhythm for it. So yeah, working with these athletes, sometimes I feel like I'm an agent for these guys. Like, there's been guys I've helped get some contract gigs, and something I would honestly love to do one day is be an agent. I don't think I have the skills yet. I don't think I'm ready to jump off there yet. But working with these people, you just become friends with them. Like, hearing some of these guys cry, going through breakups with people, me being their therapist at 2 a.m. when they're definitely not in any illicit substances, skating down the street really fast, crying. Like, it's really crazy seeing all levels of it, from the high end levels of, like, dealing with Wallisch, like the professional, like, I mean, Tom's just the fucking best guy ever, and dealing with, like, getting him skis, to just being like I don't know. There's so many factors of it that I think about all the time. I'm like, I can't believe I do that. Like, but the cool thing is, like, you think it's bigger than you, but anybody can do this. Like, you can be, if you're somebody like me who has, like, ADHD, you're hyper, this is the perfect type of thing for you. This is a way to get that energy out. It's a way to be personable. And also, too, it's a way to really network. Like working with these athletes, I can tell you, I think I help these athletes out as much as they help me, too. There's a lot of times if I need something, like they'll reach out and do this or that. But at the end of the day, my job as in the athlete management side of things is I'm here to make sure these guys can go out and kick ass. I'm here, like, whatever that means. Whatever it takes, like, we will always get you a pair of skis when you need them the most. Like, there's nothing standing in our way there. I don't care if it's overnight shipping. I don't care if it's me having so-and-so drive a pair of skis. Like, Brian Gardner just had to drive Tom Wallisch's skis all the way to Winter Park from Vail the other day, bless his heart, because there's a little bit of a FedEx snafu on their end. And thank God, like, you got to be quick on your feet. Like, athlete management is put the phone, like, tell your significant other, sorry, honey, I got to deal with this fucking flaming pile of shit right now. And, like, we've definitely, like, it's a lot sometimes, but once you get into a groove with it, once you get into a rhythm, it's just problem solving on the fly. It's just, it's just deluxe. Like, basically my job is to just solve a Rubik's Cube each day, like, as fast as I can, and deal with that. Like, whether that's sending athletes, sending them all to the same house. So that's that in a nutshell. I don't want to go too rambly there, but yeah, no, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Now that, just a thought on that, because we could go so many different directions, just because you're such a great guest. It's just, you make it so damn easy. Just giving me so much to work off of. But just a thought on Wallisch, and I mean, who the hell am I to say this, but you could just tell why he's gone as far as he has. Like, working with him on that episode, and then just seeing him after that, just the single most professional person I've ever met or worked with in skiing. Like, I like we were saying with media, I work with like hundreds of people every year. And yeah. Tom, it's like you email him, you text him, you talk to him, and it's like, dude, this guy is like so reliable. You can't even believe it. He's just like, he's on top of his shit. He does like a million different things, and I love him. I love Tom Wallisch.
Dude,
great guy.
Tom is great. Like, speaking to that a little bit too, like making sure he's all set with his gear. Yeah, like I think it's important to like keep those relationships. Well, one thing I learned in the NFL when I was working in the NFL, like working with Ray Lewis, Joe Flacco, like some of the guys with the Ravens, like you're freaking out at first. You're like, holy fuck, that's that guy that makes $200 million a year or whatever. But like me growing up in that sector just watered everything down for me. It was like, these are people. And I saw that in the NFL, from those guys crying after practice to like being this and that. Carried that over to skiing. Like, dude, Tom, he's a fucking real person. Like, I'll tell you where that all like really hit me for the first time is we did a trip to Japan to film for our new all mountain freestyle ski, the line Bacon, and we're out there like the first 3 days. It's just our core team line, our core internal line employees there. We're like getting a taste of Tokyo so we can put it into some future projects and this and that. Then the athletes arrive 3 days later. It was fucking dude. It's so crazy waking up in our bedroom because we had an extra bed and just seeing Tom. Like Tom's like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm like, this is so fucking cool in Japan with Tom. But like, it's one of those things where I was like always a little freaked out at first dealing with Tom because you've got these nerves. Dude, he's the most like normal, chill guy ever. And that's what I'm telling you about anybody. Like, I've at this point now worked with a lot of really up there people. More for me, like people I consider up there where I'm like, whoa, they're famous. They're like celebrities, this and that. And now I'm just like, now that I realize everybody is just a fucking real person that's like just trying to go have some ramen or like explore and have the same experiences I have, it makes it so much easier to like relate to them. But it really does help when they're really easy to work with. And Tom is no exception there. So in the athlete management side of thing, Tom gets an A+. I want to mention a few of my younger athletes who get lower grades, but Simeon, I'm not going to mention your name here on the podcast. Oh,
yeah, I think outside of just in general, in terms of like working with, people that you perceive as like higher status for whatever reason, whether that's super wealthy, super important job, just for whatever reason, the people that I have found are usually unapproachable and, larger than life. And you're like, wow, it's like really hard to interact with them. That's just because they're a run of the mill asshole. Like that's why they're hard to talk to. It's not because they have a ton of money. No, they're difficult to talk to because they're an asshole. And because there's plenty of people with tons of money that are great people, and you're like, wow, you're really easy to talk to. And then there's other people, and you're like, oh no, you're just an asshole. That's why it seems like it's hard to talk to.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there's some people that come off as assholes, but like, you know, you gotta like you kind of gotta give everybody a good solid chance, and I think I do that with all the athletes too. And especially for myself, I know I'm not anything too special, and I don't want to. Sometimes I feel like my energy comes off as me trying to have like an ego, and at the end of the day, I'm just sometimes a little harder for me to control my energy, and that's just that. But at the same time, I got to put that in the perspective of the athlete too. Like, why is this person acting a certain way? Like, what's going on in their world? Like, you've really got to put yourself in the athlete's shoes with shit, because I think there's been times where I've misread things like athletes are doing or this and that, and I've like it's the ultimate communication challenge is being a team manager. You've got to simultaneously be everybody's friend, but simultaneously not be everybody's friend. You've got to be pushing the bounds there. But also, I like that it goes both ways with athletes. This is a really big point I want to make. Athlete management and the athlete management is just in line, just being a team manager. I'm not their fucking agent at all. Yeah. Most of these guys do have agents or vice versa. But one point I want to drive home is that these guys are I'm checking these guys as much as they're checking me. Like, I'll be straightforward and honest with you, and I hope other people would be honest about this type of stuff. But like, there's been times I'm posting a certain way on social, and guys will approach me and be like, "Hey, Jake, like, want to be honest with you? Like, is this line like is this the line we're all making together? Like, is like asking me these questions, not as they're mad at me, but like, hey, like, are you being too hypey with this? Like it's good to get checked a little bit on what we're doing from the athletes as much as I'm checking them. Like, I'm keeping them accountable, but dude, biggest thing I've got from this job is these guys keeping me accountable to live up to what this brand's gonna be and what these athletes have had a taste of about what's coming with Line, and me get on that same page. Especially when you're almost the voice of this brand on social, you got to be there. But that's something a lot of people are afraid to be. A lot of people are trying to be a ruthless team manager, like, I'm fucking running the show like my way or the highway. But like, a lot of times I sit back and be like, dude, that was stupid, Jake. Like, what are you doing? And I'll take that from the athletes too. And some of these guys are like, Jake, that's not cool. Like, what the fuck? And I'm like, thanks for being honest with me. Like, I'd rather you tell me straight up that's like not like cool or this or that, or that's not like what are you doing? I think that's a really cool thing and a really special thing about Line. And that's not just with the athletes, that's with us internally. Like, we're not afraid to fucking punch each other, give it a little jab, and be like, yo, hey, check yourself. Like what are we doing here? So I'd say that's something really, really special with this Line family that I'm like, dude, it keeps my heart bumping pretty fast with this brand. Like, whether that's like any of the athletes just DMing me, like some of their thoughts on stuff, or being like, hey, like, you know, like recently we had a big conversation at Mount Hood in this like big meeting we had, and like what came of that was pretty cool. Like, some of the athletes coming up to me and talking and telling me like, hey, like, let's focus on the pros. Let's focus on the big guys here. Like, we're posting too much young gun action here, but like, you're doing a kick-ass job of posting these young guns that deserve a spotlight. But like, also remember, we're here to show off these guys that earned it. And you know what? These young guys gotta fucking pay their dues. So that's something I need to get back in line with, and I think I'm doing a really good job now, personally. But I'd say that's good advice for everybody. Like, there's a pecking order to everything, but listen to your athletes. Like, you've got to listen to the athletes. Like, they run this brand. There's no figurehead at Line Skis anymore. Like, there has been figureheads in the past, and I don't need to name their names, but like, this is for the skiers that are here at Line, and this is for our customers. Like, this is your Line Skis for the first time. This isn't one person who's got a popular name up there with a special symbol on the ski. Like, this is this is your line skis, and we're trying to get there. And I think next year people will understand more of what we're talking about. But quick little TED talk there, sponsored by Coors Banquet. Please pay this man.
Yeah, that's it's a great. It's actually like that echoes something I was thinking lately, just about the sports industry at large, because that's the box I've put myself in terms of my career and my hobby with this. Dude, none of it exists without the athletes. Like this whole sport of skiing, without the skiers, it's nothing. It doesn't matter how great if there's nothing to take a photo of, it doesn't matter how great of a photographer you are. Then it's just landscape photography, you know? Like at the end of the day, it is all about the athletes, and everyone else could disappear, and the sport would still go on. Because at the end of and that goes for every sport, every single sport, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. Like ESPN doesn't exist without some kid falling in love with hockey when he's young and then growing up to become a professional hockey player or basketball player, football player. Like it's all on the athletes. So it's just like, dude, big respect to anyone that's about that life. Because I was never about that life. I was never trying to be an athlete ever, or a professional athlete for that matter. So respect. It all comes back to them.
Dude, yeah. These guys, I mean, everybody, like, even when you think someone's slack and they're not, it's really cool to see. Like, this is for the athletes. And like, not to keep rambling about this too much longer, but like, in line 2, it's about the athletes, and it's about making sure these athletes getting the respect they deserve from us. Like, we need to respect them. And what does respect mean from a brand? That means acknowledging them, acknowledging what they want to do, and acknowledging correct amounts of support. So, like we're paying a bunch of athletes that I would say, like, normally money might go other places, but like, these people deserve to be paid. These are athletes that deserve to be paid. And, I think you got to put your money where your mouth is, like with some of these guys, like backing some of these young guns, giving them cash, but also giving a nice, good opportunity for these other guys to step up to the plate. Like, hey, you want to be up in the batting lineup here? Go fucking head. Like, go prove it. So yeah, there's still a good give and take there, but yeah, it starts with these guys, and like to round the whole athlete management point together. My job's just I'm trying to make it easy on them. I want these guys to have as easy as a process as possible. And I know, any of our athletes listening to this definitely know for sure, as other brands experience, like there are multiple times I lose my marbles over something that happens in the warehouse, not being able to get a pair of skis and whatnot. But like, I will try to do anything and everything to make sure these guys can go compete at the highest level they can, whether that's a child labor project in the streets, or whether that's a Tucker Fitzsimons, freaking like do tour magic that's going on. Like, it doesn't matter, like whatever. Or the small kid at the tow rope in Michigan who's going to a rail jam on the weekend, and he's in our flow program. Like, yeah, just gotta make sure these guys know that I got your back now. Now do work for me here. Like, scratch my back, I scratch your back, and I think we have a really good tempo at line with that. So
yeah, well, so obviously some of your guys can be listening. I think I've been saying this more lately. There's a lot of different people that listen to these episodes for different reasons, and I think yours in particular, there's going to be people saying, "Hey, this is a behind the scenes guy. How do I?" So this is transitioning to the question that they are probably thinking is, I want to be pro. How does that happen? Like what's the entry point for line? Or you could speak generally about the industry. Like, you can even go into the different tiers of support that you guys offer. Like, yeah. What's an up and comer looking like? What's the landscape look like for an up and comer that wants to get paid, as Wallisch used to say?
Nice. Well, as the old behind the scenes works here's the veil here. Ooh, I'm gonna pull it back, baby. Okay, pretty easy. I'll explain how it works at line. I'll explain my feelings on being pro, and then I'll explain how that works at line. So how it breaks down with a company like ours is, like, your shops are how you're gonna get kind of noticed to start. Like, you're gonna talk to the shop and be like, okay, hey, is there a local line rep? I'm trying to, like, I'm trying to do this or that, and then maybe get on a flow program with them. But what we have, that's a little bit more complicated to explain there. But to keep it really simple is we have what we call our MC Flow program, which we're kind of rebranding into something else pretty wild. But this program defines all these younger athletes who we're flowing either codes to get skis, or we're flowing skis to like that we believe they're at a level that or represent line in a unique way to do A, B, and C for the brand, or to potentially be pro. We want to give all these guys an equal shot to rise up. So the MC Flow program exists basically based regionally. So we have reps in all these regions in the country, in these sectors. And for each of those regions, I've now taken over. This year will be the first year I really implement the way I want to do it, the North American Flow program, which will be called something special, but I don't want to spoil any fun. These guys and gals on these lists in all of these like 6-7 sectors across the country, I coordinate. This year will be the first time I get to do this. We'll coordinate directly with our athletes to give a yay. Like, our athletes are basically going to help describe which athletes get flown product across the country. I'm going to present them and pretty much try to give the dominant like feeling of who we want in these regions for what purpose and whatnot. Because I know, like, a good example is like Simeon Glass, Midwest. I like mentioned him in my interview because they were like, who could we bring on? And I'm like, I've looked at lines like Midwest presence. You guys don't have a good Midwest presence here. Simeon's fucking kicking ass. That's an athlete I'd love to see on line skis, because it was so funny me being like, what line athletes in the fucking Midwest that's like been tearing it up? And you see all these other guys, like, again, a million ones that all of Simeon's fucking idols up there in the Midwest. You know a million skiers that ski in the Midwest. I'll just let everybody think of a specific one or two. But yeah, no, like, so that's a hole there. And I was like, fuck yeah, bring him on. Same with other parts of the country. We could add all mountain, like free ride, like consistency too. And also these guys on this MC Flow program basically get these opportunities to come to some of these line pop-ups or events and stuff and do stuff, but they get this chance to be noticed. So the Flow program, the Line MC Flow program, is designed to either A, flow skis, or B, give discounts to some of these guys to help them amplify their game, make this cheaper, get to the next level. So then after that, we have our amateur athletes, which are unconditionally like flowed skis. And their design is very poorly designed. If you're an amateur, we want you to be a pro. We'll do whatever I can. Like, you're an amateur athlete, you're going to be at team shoots. We're going to try to get you at team shoots, I should say. And the hope is that as an amateur athlete and you're elevated to that point, you're going to have this opportunity to come, like, dominate wherever you're at, be the presence, and prove that you deserve to be pro. But yeah, I would say too, let's talk about like what it means to be pro. I love like Kevin Perrin, Treefort. Fucking best way. He said it better than fucking anybody like ever. He said it in that there's like one post or story or something, and KP's the fucking man. Go shop some Treefort. From the episode, have that camera strap.
Yeah, it was hot. It was his hot take from the episode that we did together. Yeah,
that's exactly what it was from. Actually, it was the hot take. The way Kevin described being pro, so exactly how I feel. Like, pro isn't really pro. Pro is kind of being like this. I think pro is being in this high-level representation phase where you can accomplish a lot. You can accomplish more than you probably ever could in terms of like getting what your message is out into the world. But being pro, like, you still have to go. Like, I've tried to teach some of the young guns this. Like, some guys are like, oh, I'm out of money or this and that. I'm like, this isn't designed to support your whole life. Like, still go work 3 days at that ski shop. Like, still go do this or that. Or also, and another part of the athlete management thing is being like, I'm not your agent, but I can try to help you here. Think about if you were making X money with us now. Now you have a bargaining chip to go make X amount of money for the eyewear, for your bids, for your capiche belt, like for this or that. So when you start to stack that, that's a force multiplier for like somebody who's a pro. And like, I mean, that's getting a little nitty gritty into like the money and aspect of all that. But yeah, like, you know, pro is comes off in so many ways. At the end of the day, like, it's just another title, but I mean, you're making some money. So it's just an opportunity for now you've got a little bit bigger of a platform to do something special. That's what I see pro as, like in a nutshell. This is a cool little platform to do something special. But that's how it works at Line, guys. Like that's how it kind of bends and breaks here with us. And I know a lot of other people do it differently, but yeah, I think this year we're really going to start, you know, zeroing this out. I think we've been a little bit all over the place with certain things, but it's really cool to narrow that in and allow the team to really have a voice in who's getting flowed skis. Like, people who are getting flowed skis, and this goes for all other ski brands that are selling in shops. I'm speaking the truth for them mostly. All these other ski brands, the reps in each of the regions would pick these flow athletes. So these are a lot of times older guys, nothing against them, but a lot of times older guys and gals potentially that are reps that are picking athletes, and they aren't connected to social. They just know, oh, this guy's good. Now, when we're doing that internally and picking regionally and bringing the athletes involved to help me pick regionally, we're making a devastating, like, powerful impact for these skiers now to really succeed. Like, we're not just picking Joe Schmo over here because he's like the shop owner's kid. Like, we're picking somebody because, yo, this guy deserves a chance. He's been out here every day. He's won every rail jam and nobody knows about him. Like, that's the cool part about us bringing it in-house. And obviously there are exceptions to make, you know, politics aside, like there are exceptions here and there, but like that generally is a little bit more of a veil pullback that I kind of wanted to say, but I think it's good to be honest about it. I want everybody to like get to the pinnacle of their skiing, you know, like when I can finally do crazy shit, when I get noticed or this and that, skiing feels amazing. And the way that is for me is like so micro, like it's just cool to have a video to like send my mom and be like, yo, this is badass. Or put on my Tinder or Hinge back in the day and be like, yo, dude, I just did a lip line too. Like, that was sick, and it's on my Tinder. Nobody gives a fuck. But God, no more dates in Portland ever. But yeah, pretty open rundown there of the athlete side of things. So
yeah, I mean that's probably the most candid look at that discussion that I've heard in a while. I don't think you said anything really over the line that Connor's going to kick down your door in the middle of the night and be like, "Why did you say that?" Yeah.
Well, Steven, the bodybuilder that runs this brand, will come beat my ass. So yeah, I'll kick his ass in Call of Duty later, though. It's gonna be great. No.
So I think that is a topic that you could really talk about all damn day. Is like the definition of being a pro, because I think the most conservative, like textbook definition, perhaps, is like you make your living off of this specific thing. Like, so if you hold that definition, you know, I'm a professional skier. That means that all I do is ski, and I get paid enough that I don't have to do anything else. That's one definition. I think that's the most extreme definition of it. But then the most loose definition of being a pro could be, at least I think the barrier is getting paid anything at all. Like if you get paid to do something, like in theory, under this definition, you are pro. If you get paid $100 to take a photo of an event, at that point you are technically a professional photographer. Because an amateur, you're just doing it for the love of the game, right?
That's a damn good way to say that. It stokes my ego on the photography side. I was like, hell yeah, I'm a pro photographer. It sounds great. But yeah, no, I think that's, and like, you know, I think the distribution of that pro sentiment is pretty critical too, like depending on the brand. Like some brands are gonna like that gradient of pay is gonna happen more for like the park if they're trying to get that up, or all mountain. Like for us, I'd say we have it pretty balanced between the park, all mountain, and you know, like other sides of things, like with touring and like just these other little niches here and there. It can really go a million different ways with that. But yeah, I think I think paying people is a very interesting conversation, and especially too, there's extremes with it. Like you've got your Wallisch, who's making definitely, like, he's making money to sustain himself solely through skiing and all of his sponsors. And then you have these, some of these younger guns like, Connor Ralph, Jed Blue Water, Simeon, who are making, obviously some money through us because we want to support them. And this money is designed as a supported measure to go show us what else you can do. Like, that's what this money is for. And you've committed to us in a way that we feel comfortable doing that. So I think it's interesting looking at the financial aspect of things. Yeah. And
well, because I was gonna say, there's definitely gonna be people that are listening with that singular definition in mind, like, oh, like a company, like if I'm a pro for a company, I should be getting paid. My whole life should be paid for because I'm a pro. And so they're gonna hear you saying, well, you should still, like, if you're a pro, you should still be working 3 days at a ski shop. They're gonna be like, fuck no, I'm not working at a ski shop. I'm a pro skier. But you look at the person that I can think of that arguably has the most success in skiing right now, which is Tom, at least in terms of like financial success. Obviously I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but you look at him, he's doing commentating on TV. He has outerwear sponsors. He has ski sponsors. He has boot sponsors. He's doing media like every other day. Like, you know what? Maybe if you just keep working all the damn time, you're just going to keep on rising to the top, because it's like you never take your foot off the gas, Yeah,
you've always got to have something. Like you've always got to have something to give. Like you've got to show this, like what do I have to offer? Like, what do I have to offer? And then keep the gas on whatever that is. Like whether that's teaching clinics, or for a lot of people, that's like making your own event. Like, make your own event, make your own like little program or something. Like, I try to tell some of these younger guns, like, dude, like, think out of the box, like, go do something. Like, I am no master in that too. And I'm also like, don't ask me, talk to some of your pro friends, like, talk to some of these other guys who are on Red Bull or like, this or that. Like, I'm here to be a resource for Line. I'm here to do that. But I'm also like, you gotta know when to start using your fucking brain and like thinking big picture. Like that's what I try to tell some of these guys. Some people are walking a cakewalk right now that is like, it takes one injury, it takes one snap, it takes one this or that, it takes one fucked up moment that in their life to change everything. So I'm always like, dude, that being said, like, be smart with what you're doing. Like, have fun with it, focus, but like, don't get too cocky about it. And remember, you're given this opportunity. How else can you be multiplying this to make your life easier? Like, when I talk about this stuff to people, they're like, oh, I'm trying to do too much here. I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm like, no, dude, like, I'm just trying to help you get a little tempo going so you don't have to worry about shit. It's kind of nice when you get to Tom's stage and you're like, I got A, B, and C on lock, and I don't have to worry about all this other stuff. Like, that a tempo isn't designed to make you not have any more fun. A tempo is designed to make your life a lot easier. Like, it's designed, like, with that hard work you're already doing, like, it can be so much easier. But yeah, no, a lot of different ways to look at it though, so
yeah. I wonder if Tom's listening to this. Yeah, I always feel bad talking about someone at length when they're not here, even though this has overwhelmingly been how much we love him and how he's such a great shining example. But still, I think,
legend.
It's just it's the same with any sport, man. You see someone go to the league for football, and they have their whole career in front of them. I think Zion Williamson for the NBA is a great example. This dude's got all this hype, and then boom, injury. And it's like, all right, well, a lot of potential, but nothing to show for it, because you can't, nobody pays potential. You have your shot.
Yeah.
So you got to be well-rounded. You got to have X, Y, and Z. I don't know. I think we're milking this subject for as much.
Yeah, the athlete thing can go on for a while, but long story short, life's short. You got to just try to capitalize on what you're doing right now to try to just make your life easier. I don't want to buy ramen forever either,
Yeah.
I got a lot of ramen upstairs.
All right. Next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was last time we really spoke and worked together was Dew Tour. And you said, hey, we got some women competing. how great would it be if we did an interview with one of the medalists? And I said, oh, I was already planning on interviewing the gold medalist. I was already planning on interviewing the gold medalist. So let's see who that ends up being. And Lisa Zimmermann takes the gold. And hop up there. We do a little interview. I say, how are you feeling? And in a very European way, she just gets straight to the point and says, you know what? I'm on my period. I didn't really feel like competing. And I was at a loss for words. I respected the move. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, I cannot wait to show Jake what we
Dude.
got. What'd you think when that video came through for you to post on social?
Dude, I know exactly where I was too. So I'm literally up at Ski Magazine ski test in Sun Valley, and we're at the intro night thing, and I'm blasted off Course Light. And I remember me and Connor were watching the heats, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I gotta call Two Planker. Like, I gotta hit him up. He's there." I'm like, "This is looking really good." Like all the lady line athletes were kicking ass.
Yeah, they were killing.
And I was like. I was just like, I didn't know, I wasn't assuming who was going to place or any of that. I was like, really like, it would just be sick to get like a podium interview with one of the fucking gals. Like they were just ripping. They were all time. Like I was getting stoked. And then I remember me and Connor, I had my phone up against the little like notary thing on the middle of the table for Ski Magazine. And I don't know, some Ski Mag person rambling about some shit. And I'm just sitting there like, holy fuck. And Lisa just fucking like, got that 95 and I lost my shit. And like, I just like walked out of the room. I was like, oh my God. And then you sent me, it's just the craziest shit because you sent me that and literally a whole table of people like see me and Connor flipping out because we take this shit so close. Like Marion and fucking Alexa and goddamn Lisa just kicked ass. It was such a good sight. And all the other ladies too, like Audrey, like fucking no Audrey, and I was so hyped for her doing it. Fucking, she just hugged herself. I was like, fuck, dude, that's what I would have done. But dude, it was so sick. We're all sitting there at the table, and I was like, yo, Two Planker just said the interview. He said it's crazy, and there's just a table of like people watching, and everybody just lost their shit when she said that. And dude, but a few people there that saw it right away were like thinking the same thought I was thinking. I'm like, this is such a big fucking win for like ladies out there. Like the Michaela Schifrin, this happened too.
Yeah.
To some degree, I believe, as it was conveyed. I was pretty fucked up on Course Light, but like, no, it's really cool. And like, I remember my roommates. I live with like two lady skiers too. They like messaged me after we posted it. They're like, "This is so fucking awesome for like women. Like just to normalize, like, dude, like it's not easy. Like shit happens, and like." Fuck it. Like it was really cool to like get a text from my roomies about that. But like, no, I was not expecting that. And if anybody wants to watch that, definitely it's on the gram. And even more funny too, I fucking love Lisa. Hung out with her in Salt Lake a few weeks back when she flew in for our shoot. And I kid you not, dude, Lisa is the truth of a human being. Like Lisa's incredible. I just did 40 minutes of dance fitness martial workout in the main room. Ask any of our athletes. I stuck through like 39 of the 40 minutes with Lisa doing a full body workout in the kitchen. Like it was fucking crazy. But no, dude, you killed it though. That was like, honestly, I watched that video a lot because I'm like I didn't even know you were there for a bit, and then I was like, Two Plankers, and what's Two Plankers doing out here at the fucking Dew Tour? Which I might have called it X Games a few times. I mean to say Dew Tour. I always call it Dew Tour X Games. Rest in peace, sponsorships. But yeah, no, dude, I'm glad you brought that up. It literally it's so good.
It was just with those interviews, it's like hard to really get to the core of the athlete experience. I thought Freestyle was such a great event just because like there was that head-to-head element, but when she busted that one out and just kept it so real from the start, I was like, dude, like, because that was really the first interview where I felt like I was a little bit on assignment. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for somebody other than our own page. I was like, I am so happy that I get to send him something that is like way better than anything else we've gotten so far.
Dude, I understand now too. Like after meeting Lisa and our European athletes, I got to meet like I've met a ton of them, but like never met Lisa or like Trifes, like Coach Trifes, and like meeting Lisa, like it's so crazy the different culture like coming out in that statement, like the way everyone's very open. It was so crazy. Like just talking to Lisa, I have never just like talked to somebody like our European squad where I don't feel awkward like that quickly. Like I just never felt awkward around any of them. Like we're just joking around, fucking around like in 5 seconds. Whereas like another athlete like in America, I might have to like, we get to know each other, this and that. Europeans, dude, they're just a different breed. And they drink a lot too. They drink a lot. Bastards.
Let's see, dude. This is so funny. Yeah,
that was good, dude. I'm really glad you brought that. I was hoping you brought that up.
Oh, it's so great. Let's touch on team trips a little bit because I feel like this is the part. I was a pro, which I never thought I could be. Never think I will be. It's something that has been completely out of my world. But if I was pro, other than seemingly be able to do whatever trick I wanted, the other best part would be being able to go on these team trips and go to these shoots. So, first of all, do you get to go to all of them? And what's the experience like? Like, what's the team trip and a team shoot like?
Okay, we're gonna have a little chaotic moment here.
Hey, Steven, my boss, at the time of recording this, my expense report will be completed, I promise you.
Anyway,
and that's for Japan, too.
I haven't done my expense reports for the last 4 months. Alyssa Shore in finance, I'm so sorry. It will be done. Hopefully I don't get fired over that for saying that in this podcast. But anyway, aside from the finances, no, I get to go on the team trips. It's really sick. It's awesome bringing together like the squad. Everybody's energized to get the clips. Everybody's energized to be wherever we're at. And I haven't got to go on too many. When I tore my ACL almost a year ago, we're supposed to go to Crowns, Montana overseas. And yeah, I couldn't go on that trip. So my first big team trip was like going to Japan. So, I mean, fuck yeah. I was like, goddamn Japan, this is gonna be sick. So I went to Japan, and oh my god, I'll tell you what, you go on a team trip to Japan, one thing you don't bring in these goddamn bunny rabbits. I brought these rabbits with me. Oh my god, dude, they love these things over there. But anyway, that was a tangent. Team trips are sick. One big thing, if the rabbits didn't show it there, like love to keep the energy high on the trips. Like people are there ripping. Obviously, I'm not ripping as hard, so like, I'm not getting as tired here. I'm just probably taking a few photos, but yeah, I'll speak to the Japan team trip a bit. The way we do our team trips are kind of designed for a purpose. We're there to execute kind of a mission. So we're there to capture content, and this content that we capture on a team trip is all going to be designed to be used for that sell-through for the next season. So this Japan trip that we took when it was January, February, or whatever, we're there. We're going to Japan. We're designing this content. We're designing the athletes that are there to all be creating X, Y, and Z content that we need to basically go through our marketing plan and execute all the little check boxes come fall or late summer when we launch our skis. So that's what Japan was designed to do, and that's what we did. Specifically, some of these team trips are designed for a portion of that purpose. So team trip to Japan was designed for the Bacon collection. We had the Sir Francis Bacon. That ski is out. We have a new construction. It's the Bacon. It's a little bit stiffer. Same kind of weaponized design. It's all mountain freestyle. In that 108 width and then 115. And yeah, we were there with these athletes and a few other skis too. We had the Pescato and Sakana there as well. We're there to execute this mission to create that content. Outside of that, it's a bunch of fun experiences. Get to hang out with the athletes. You're one-on-one with everybody for like 10 days. It's like the coolest shit. I mean, dude, hey, not the fanboy, but getting to hang out with Tom all those days, like fucking coolest. Like seeing Tom walking through Japan, like I'm like, this is so fucking cool. And then getting to see like Dylan Siggers in Japan, like fucking total crackhead ADHD, like running around with his Russian 16 millimeter camera, like filming. Like I love the video that I have. It's one of my favorites of Dylan. He's on the fucking bullet train with this massive film camera that's like this big, just like filming. There's all these there's like all these Asian people just being like, what the fuck is going on right now? Who are these Americans? But no, it was really cool. And team trips are a great opportunity to bond with the team, hear some insights on like what they like, what they don't like, as well as like create some of the product videos that we'll make. So we love making these really dynamic product videos. Jake Strassman comes in on these team trips with us and just knocks it out of the fucking park. Like he's so good with like making that little story for each of the skis. And it's always fun hearing like Tom talk about the skis. Like, yo, hey, this is my pro model ski, the same ski, you ride. But it's really cool to see Tom talk about the all mountain skis now that Tom's like getting a little bit more backcountry centric. And it's, really cool. So team trips, awesome. A lot of very drunken stories that I'm not going to share on here for a lot of people's benefits. But it's really cool. Losing people, finding people again, and exploring new cities. Japan, unbelievable opportunity to spend with the athletes. I think it like instilled a little bit of a mark on everybody, like getting to see the sights, the sounds, and then spending all those days too, like seeing the team work together. I didn't get to go up in the mountains as much with those guys in Japan, but it's really cool, like hearing them come back and being like, everybody was like, dude, like we just hit in this zone all day and it was scary and like freaking ripped through a tree, almost died. Like the camaraderie from these trips is really, really fun. And like got a little bit more of that in Salt Lake with the squad too. Like just everybody being around, like, all of us going out like the last night and just, getting cranked and like I don't know. It's just super cool. Like share the memories, and some of those I'm not going to share on this at all because I think they're so sacred. I don't want anyone to know what they are, and like also a little wild. But it's really cool getting able to travel with these athletes, see what they're like thinking, see what's like behind the social media. That's my favorite thing is like talking to these guys, like getting to meet Pete Kukov for the first time and hearing what he's all about. Like, dude, Pete's fucking sick, and it's like I've looked up to him forever. Like, maybe you'll hate that I say this, but like, fucking one of my favorite edits of all time is the fucking Totally Trevor 2, goddamn pork frat. I'm like embarrassed to say that, but like, I don't know. I always love that goddamn shit. Really fun. Like, also, one funny thing too, I got to share. Salt Lake, Connor, Steven, I'm really sorry. Definitely blew a few bands on taking the squad that was stuck at home with me and Lisa to the escape room. And me, Lisa, and a few other people went to an escape room. And fucking Lisa, like 5 minutes into this escape room, just breaks the fucking 3D printer. And we're like in this alien laboratory. The girl just comes running in. She's like, "You broke it." And Lisa's like, "Holy shit." I was losing my marbles. Like, it was so much fun. Like all the little one-off stuff. And then Lisa Zimmermann, damn you for your version on German Uno is the most heinous game I've ever played in my life. But a million one-off stories like that at some of these gatherings. One of the coolest ones I'll say too, kind of worth mentioning. A little secret assignment I'm not going to speak on too much. We went up to Mount Hood over like early winter. And we all got to stay in Silcock's hut up there together as a little bit of our team for some insight and stuff. And it was really, I think, a really cool, powerful experience for me, like feeling, welcome at line, as well as seeing that in our eyes of some of our athletes, literally staying up in the middle of the full force gale blizzard on the side of Mount Hood in Silcock's hut. If you don't know, you can stay in this massive hut on the side of Mount Hood, and it is fucking terrifying. And there's all these old wooden beds and like crazy drawings everywhere. It is so insane. That was really cool. But yeah, there's always something fun to happen at like a team shoot. I would kind of classify Wendell's as a team shoot, but almost don't want to talk about that one. Maybe if you ask me later, I'll bring it up. But yeah, like Line Week at Wendell's is probably one of the up there team shoot level, climbing over the top of Chuck's bar to the back. Please, bartender, don't kill me for that. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, we keep things PG.
Yeah. So just thinking about the audience, I'm assuming there's gonna be some guys on the line team listening that want to get in on these shoots that haven't been in on them. So how do you pick who goes? How do you pick who goes where?
Yeah. No. Good question. A lot of that has to do with what each of the athletes brings to the table. So if they're kicking ass on a certain ski and we're noticing that heavy, like an athlete's showing out on the blend, then again, I'm hypotheticating here, but like say there's a construction change next year or the year after or whenever on the blend, you might be like, hell yeah, like this next team shoot, we want to really show off that blend. Like we really want to show that ski off for what it's worth, what it does best. And yeah, like a lot of times we'll look at like, okay, what's the execution of this park shoot? Because a lot of times we'll do an all mountain park shoot. Like we did that last year, like Grand Targhee. And this year too, all of the squad went up to Revelstoke, kind of under their own power with Jake and did a shoot. And some new faces joined that. But it's the same concept with a park shoot or all mountain shoot. What we're going to do is like, what are we shooting for? Blade optic? Okay, cool. Who's dominating that right now? Who's existing that's kicking ass that deserves to show that off? Who's some of these young guns maybe that would bleed into that and really be able to show that off? And yeah, some people really, have done a good job of showing off that energy online. And yeah, we'll bring them out to a shoot, If it's to show off the Wallisch, like good example, like Karstetter hasn't really been to many like big shoots and vice versa. So we flew him out to film this cut with Ralphie and Wallisch at Park City, Woodward Park City. And that's like really cool opportunity to like, I know Karstetter gets a lot of airtime in us, but like he's still very much like, hey, prove yourself. Like, cool. You've got some really good one hitters here, like some good bangers, but like, yo, like that's not going to sell this. That's not like why you're here. Like you're here to make a bigger impact. I'm here to support your skiing, but that goes for everybody else as well. Like, hey, how are you going to help us here? Or how are you showing off the ski you're on? But to that point as well, how we decide, want it to be known, like a lot of these athletes, we're not like twisting their wrist to ride a certain ski. That's a really good question we get asked a lot. Like, why do people ride A, B, and C? You don't have to ride that ski necessarily. So a lot of times too, we'll let that blend in. Maybe there's not a major pro that's like dominating a certain ski, and we'll bring somebody else in who's a young gun that's really showing off a ski. So that's often what I'll tell like either photographers or athletes that are trying to get their name up there. I'm like, what is something that's not being taken advantage of by the current pro roster, by a squad that you could tap into and you could go show that off, and maybe you'd get a little opportunity out of that. So same thing goes with line. Maybe there's a young gun out of New England who's killing it on the chronic, and we're having a chronic shoot, and we'll like bring them out. So that's kind of how that breaks down there. But it's a really good way for people to stand out, is to see like what's lacking. Like good example is Liam Baxter. He's been kicking ass in the Sakana, and he's God, oh my God, there's gonna be a funny bit on that in the product video. No, dude, Lemur's fucking killing it on the Sakana. Like he's been, I don't know, he's just been showing off. We sent him a pair of next year's like skis to like ride, and it's cool being able to give these young guns opportunities. Like, yeah, hey, I got an extra pair of like F23 skis here for you. We're looking for something. Here's a cool opportunity to show out. So yeah, it's a good opportunity there, but that's how that breaks down. Sorry, a little long-winded, but
no, that is all good. As the listeners of this podcast know, I hate talking about gear because I just don't care about it. I just truly just do not care about it. But the Sakanas are apart from, and this will bleed into our next topic. Apart from the ad deal that I have with you guys, the Sakanas are actually my favorite ski ever. They are my favorite. And look at that. For the audio only, next year's graphics are on Jake's wall.
Yeah, so we got next year's graphics. This is the full bleed top sheet here. Just keep it up there. Yeah. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, soldier. Yeah, and then a little something else there, but
Oh, interesting.
let the Instagram people try to figure out what that is. Yeah, no, pretty cool. That ski's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. But tapping into that ski, what ski's going to show off? And a lot of athletes have found a ski that isn't twisting, doesn't feel like it's twisting their own personal wrist to ride, or they feel forced by us. Like I hope a lot of athletes don't feel too forced by us to ride certain skis. But I mean, look at like Pete Kukov. He's been riding the blends a good bit, but been seeing him on the Chronics a bunch. And look at Tucker, been riding the Chronics a bunch recently too. Like, cool. Like, have that what you want. Like, skiing is skiing. Like, ride what you want. Like, have fun out there. Whatever's gonna make that happen, ride it. So
Yeah, dude, you're giving me a little bit of your ADHD. Maybe you're bringing my ADHD out because now I want to. You showed the full tilt boots, and now I want to talk about them.
yeah, fire up, baby. Hey,
do we have time to
ask
do we
away.
have time to talk
be
about the
tonight.
boots? Do we have time to talk about the boots? All right, we can talk about the boots a little bit. All right. Well, first of all, are you involved with the full tilt at all? I know it's kind of under the same umbrella, but was that like really your realm?
Yeah, so to quickly get it out there. So all of the brands that are under the Elevate Collective include us, Line
Okay.
Skis. Yeah, we formally, again, all of the kudos to Connor and Steven, Connor Clayton, Steven Hartle. They really, I mean, last people running it as well, but like, dude, Connor and Steven has really kept it together, keeping full tilt being run under the same like squad for the last like few years, like just kicking ass. And I feel really bad that baby full tilt that was nurtured so hard by Steven and Connor was kind of morphed into K2. But, I think that was kind of the plan all along, was to have that. I won't speak too deeply on that from like a higher level standpoint because, it happened for the reasons that it whatever it happened for. But, the collection was, it seemed like the K2 lineup was set up in a whatever way they had decided, and it seems like they like to have that a part of that, and that just happened as it is. I'm not focused on any of that decision making. Don't know exactly what it went into that, but what happened was the full tilt collection turned into the flex collection, turned into now being a part of that, and it's not a resource of ours that we run or oversee at all anymore. We have access to like full tilt credentials and everything for like social still, and we manage some of that still, but there's no actionable marketing we do. But when we did, yeah, it was pretty cool. This was actually the last boot I got to take photos of for full tilt, the Olympic boot. Pretty sick. I totally run to the other room, but I don't want to disrupt the flow of this podcast. I got the sacred pink boot, but I got the only pair with the pink wrap liner in the world. So, yeah, no more DMs for the price. But yeah, no, it was really cool getting a little opportunity to be a part of full tilt. Yeah, like, I mean, I could literally take that a million different directions. If you like, you probably had full tilts if you're listening, and you're, into the ski community. This was a really cool thing to be a part of, and I really admire the amount of work that went into it while running two brands. People don't know, like, we all ran full tilt and line, put all the same resources into that until like last year. Like, it's crazy the amount of resources that maybe a normally company you would expect to have to run this, and we didn't, but we still kicked ass, and it was pretty amazing to see that. And that's no like foul play on like higher ups or anything like there. It's like it kind of ran really naturally at the same tempo line, like going to a team shoot, bringing the full tilt boots out to the team shoot, at a line team shoot, and you could execute those objectives in the like with less people. So yeah, it was pretty cool to be a part of that. And yeah, full tilt, fucking, I mean, you can go buy the flex boots now at K2, and like they still kick ass just the same. It's the exact same construction. We all ride, those boots now. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually ride the Mindbender 130 boas, which are pretty dope. So yeah, but full tilt, yeah, pretty cool little thing to say that I helped out with full tilt. But again, I can't say enough about Connor and Steven. Like, really, that was their baby, and I was just kind of there trying to run in the social for a bit. Like, line is definitely, I feel like, becoming my baby on social more so. But like, dude, full tilt, maybe he'll come back one day. I don't know. I'm not definitely not speculating on this podcast of what's going to happen, but you know, boots are fucking sick, like the revolvers right now and stuff. So yeah. Pretty fun. As I slowly walk the corporate landmines here as I talk.
Yeah, there's been people way more qualified to talk about this subject on other podcasts, maybe in articles. I'll leave it up to the viewer to find them because I can't remember who spoke where or who's even doing the speaking. So we'll leave that one a mystery.
I'm scared.
Like literally, I'm not even trying to like disguise it. I remember listening to something, but I don't remember who said what. But I felt at peace at the end. I was like, you know what? I'll miss Full Tilt, but this might be for the better.
Yeah, my favorite was that meme where it was like Death was walking Full Tilt to the door.
Yeah,
it's like they were both crying. Someone's gonna hate me for saying that one, but it's so good. Full Tilt.
All right, so transition. This is a topic a lot of people wanted me to talk about. So I will preface it with a personal story. Let me read the script of my personal story that you guys gave me. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
So, okay.
I swear we didn't give him anything.
Yeah. So me, Two Planker Podcasts in line. We do have an advertising partnership, but this story is 100% true. I've ridden lines my entire life. I think like after like the rental period of my life, my first ski was the Afterbang. And then the Chronic, and then I did like J skis for a little bit because I was like, oh, he left, and you know I'm just gonna follow him. And then I went back to line and the blends and the Sakanas. I have never ever had any issue with durability, and I treat my skis like shit. I treat my skis like I'm a little spoiled brat. I leave my skis on my roof rack all season. I throw them everywhere. I do not treat them well. And I have never in my life had an issue with durability. So when I'm getting a million DMs and I'm getting people accusing me of saying, oh, you're not going to ask about this, it's like, first of all, I don't even really care about the issue because I've never experienced it personally. And guess what? Like, if I don't see it, I feel like it's not even real. But that's just my monkey brain. This is like, see it for it to be real. But that all comes back to this. Okay, so I ride 183s. I'm 5'11" on a good day, 175 pounds. I've never had an issue with my skis ever. But people have issues with the durability. So I'm just going to ask you that. What's up with the durability issues that other people have been experiencing?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad that someone. I figured by the user questions we'd had. You know, it's something worth addressing. As Line being a very dominating, like kind of freestyle presence in terms of skis, like our consumer is going to be putting hell on earth on these skis. That's the expectation. You see Andy Perry, you see Will Wesson, you see LJ back in the day, you know, I mean, still like just battering our shit. So I'd say the tempo at which we're showing that really does show a higher grade of like, go the fuck out and go crazy with these guys, like, and get gnarly with it. But like, that whole construction thing is something that we are always striving to just kind of keep on the up and up and up. Good example is the Chronic right now. If you don't know, let me brief you a little bit here. The new Chronic, which you can buy right now, it's the TC Chronic. It's basically just covered in the top sheet, which will change in fall. It's the exact same ski you'll get in fall in 94 and 101. This is a completely new redesigned Chronic. We've been listening to you guys. This Chronic is thin tip technology on it, keeps the top sheet planted on there like a fucking brick. And these like sidewall construction is completely kind of revamped on not only the Chronic collection, but the Bacon collection as well. The exact same performance changes are happening there. And you know, we're listening to everybody. We're listening to the pro team. We're listening to our consumers. We're listening to the shops, the reps, everybody. This communication chain we have for us is big. All of our athletes know if anything ever happens to their skis, and it's going to with these pro athletes who are just fucking disastered onto whatever rails, going crazy. Like, I get photos from anybody and everybody. I'm like, send me photos of your skis. All photos, all of that resource, all of that knowledge, that pool goes to our engineers as of over the last few years, like here, especially with like me at Line, Steven and Connor. I want to be very straightforward. When you come in as a team and you write fucking durability on the wall, it's written on the fucking wall. And I'll tell you right now, Steven, Connor, me, Max, our graphic designer, everybody, Chris Todd. I don't know what the last line before us was doing or what's going on. Durability is written on that wall with our engineers, is literally written on the wall. We want to make the best ski for what you can do in all of these different conditions that the skis are designed to do. It started very well with the Bacon here in Chronic. Like the team is just loving the Chronic in the Bacon right now for like that all mountain freestyle sector. So yeah, I'd say look forward and look ahead here. There's like, it's only going on the up here with some of these small, construction changes that are leading to bigger impacts with the longevity of skis. I'd say, look forward. I think there's a lot of fun changes to be had here in the park lineup the next coming years. And yeah, if you want a little taste of that earlier, go check out the Chronic. Go ride it. Go ride the new 101. I'm a big guy, and that thing's holding up pretty fucking well. And I'm a big guy. I'm a big man. 215, and I'm really probably 230. And yeah, she's doing good. So yeah, no, that's kind of like what I'd have to say on that. I also would say this: if anybody has any issues, I don't care what it is, you can always DM me, Ski Trash Jake on Insta, or Line Skis, like whatever you need, info@lineskis.com. Like whatever to get you back in the park. Like I don't care. I don't care if it's a fucked up street trip and I got to try to get a pair of skis to you overnight. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm here to help you. Our team is here to help you. Like, anything to keep you skiing. So yeah, you're always a step away from communicating with us if anything happens. And yeah, that's what I got to say on that.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I had to bring it up because you see the new schoolers threads, you see the, just whatever, viewer questions for sure. And actually, the only skis I've had issues with are the skis that are behind me. It's the what was it called? Snowboarding is Cool Steve Step skis from J Skis. The tail got ripped out, and he gave me, stand by, you can see my sweater. Oh. Sent me a code to get these for free. So that's the only time I've ever had issues with skis. And then I got the twisters basically for free. And that's the end of my my ski issue story, and it's my opportunity.
Yeah.
It's my opportunity to show that I also have skis just laying around my office, like many other guests have been able to show off.
Yeah, no, and it's pretty crazy too. Like I remember when I broke my own 3Ps, like everybody was like I had a few of my Parker guys like, those skis suck. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I just got 190 days on these. And literally worked park crew hitting rails every day. Like when I started park crew, I rode Magnus's original pro model he had, and everybody was some of my park crew guys were bashing that. I'm like, listen, and then same with some of these surfaces I had. I'm like, dude, I literally was just fucking disastering down a rail doing the same trick, my token trick I'd do, just disastering down this quad kink every day. And I think that goes for ski construction in the industry. Just however it's seen or showed off sometimes gets a bigger push in one direction. So if a brand's really promoting the, whoa, we're crazy and always jumping and doing this crazy shit, I think a lot of times that's going to push it. But there's no excuse to not be trying to push that to the next level of construction, with skis. Again, we all are excited for what's ahead with Line. And, I'm the one guy on the podcast that would probably spoil company secrets too early. And I'm going to not do that today, but maybe by what I'm saying, you can surmise some crazy shit's coming down the line. So yeah, super excited. No pun intended.
Yeah. Well, so the other one I want to ask you about, just because, fuck it, why not? We'll get into a specific example. I sent you the photo beforehand. It was from Colorado. This kid's claiming that he had foam, that his skis were made of foam, and me being someone that does not give a shit about ski construction at all, I can't verify that or disprove it. So I'm just going to ask you: is that a legitimate claim that this kid had, that his skis were made of foam? Because to me, that doesn't sound likely. But I don't.
Yeah. So
then again, I don't know shit.
Yeah, no, hey, and it's good to be like I really want to be transparent about this. The photo that like I got just for everybody visually, so you can imagine. Tom Wallisch Pro shorties, they were snapped right before the nose. I can tell you, going by that kid's Instagram and going on there, this is also something I have to do as a social media manager. I got to assess the situation. I got to assess what's going on. And I can tell you, a lot of times people are getting a tool for the job that might not be for the job anymore. Like the Tom Wallisch Pro shorty, it is like we have designed the ski to be robust for somebody at that size range that equates to that size of ski. Then you're going after that to the ruckus, to the honey badger. You're building your way up here in terms of like, width underfoot, as well as like torsional stiffness. Well, not torsional stiffness, but stiffness, unless you get the blade. Yeah, these are all factors that are going to affect that construction and affect how a ski breaks or fails in any way, shape, or form. And like, good example here, guys. This is like interesting to see. I see people riding a ski that I'm like, why are you riding that in that environment? Good example. We have the Hyperlight Vision. If you go ride that in a park and it breaks, it is a Hyperlight construction ski made to handle the backcountry, take some rocks, like do this and that. But if you go hit a fucking rail with that, if you do that on an Armada ski that's designed for backcountry, a J ski, a whatever, a Fisher, any of their backcountry skis, you will blow that shit out. And I know because I used to ride the Vocal Bridge back in the day, and I took that shit into the park and I snapped it in under 5 minutes. Under 5 minutes. Thank you for that Vocal rep back in the day who totally gave that shop a pair of skis, and I got a pair of Salomon NFX Labs and was spinning and I got knocked out. It was great. But yeah, to that point, the kid whose photo we got, it would have been cool to see him on a pair of Ruckuses, something maybe a little longer, a ski that was probably a little bit stiffer, maybe even there, because you kind of hit that pony a few too many times, it's going to eventually snap. Like you can't say like I mean, good God, you put me on a pair of like rental skis, I'm going to break them in like 5 fucking minutes. Like it's the ski for the job. You need to find that right ski for what you're doing there. So yeah, I think that's probably a good way to explain that. Overall, like you've got to get the right ski for the job, or yeah, you're going to be riding in a certain way that's going to probably be detrimental not only for your riding but for the ski.
Yeah. So what about I actually completely agree. I was just at Killington yesterday, or 2 days ago at this point, whenever this was, well before this podcast comes out. Dude, if you're an adult and you're wearing skis that are meant for kids, grow up. Your skis should be like, take whatever you're comfortable riding and get skis that are longer than that. Like, that's at least my opinion. I think it's badass when people have nice long skis. And if you're an adult riding these short little skis that aren't ski blades, it's just like, grow up. But that's just my little 2 cents on that. I want to just go back to the last subject really quick. I don't know if you could speak to it, but like the actual, like these people were claiming that it was actually foam inside. Like, is there any, I didn't see it, so I don't know if there's any truth to it, but just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the ways, like when you're seeing a ski construction, like in our ARC facility, we have this facility down the road called the ARC. It's Advanced Resource Collective, where we like build, kind of get all the mock-ups and stuff for our tooling, do some PTRs, which are prototype skis that we'll like send out to athletes or tests. When you go there and you see the skis and the material, I can tell you after seeing a lot of skis that have been gone through rigorous testing there, they're going to look a lot fucking different when they're snapped in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Especially the way that materials will then expand when they're snapped because they've been under pressure. I mean, when you understand how a ski is made in these presses, the materials are forced down. They're in this tightened environment. I mean, I'm not an engineer, so fucking engineers, sorry if I'm explaining this wrong, but like, regardless, the one thing I know is right. When shit is broken, it looks a lot different when it is actually broken versus the materials that go in, especially certain wood compounds too. I mean, dude, I'll speak to this when I was in Cub Scouts, like breaking balsa wood for those little fucking balsa wood cars or whatever. Like, it splinters out like fucking crazy and it looks nuts. If you don't know, go buy some balsa wood. I only like balsa wood because it smells really good. But yeah, I think on that subject, it's pretty. I don't know. Say it's pretty hit or miss there. I could speak in a lot of different directions about some other ski brands with that too. But like everybody, if you're not breaking skis that you're riding, I mean, like sorry, you're gonna break skis, guys. Like if you're deciding to do this stuff, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I just say, like, I'm really stoked that we stand behind our product. So yeah, you got problems, hit me up. Take care of you.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah. And that's that in terms of my mind.
Yeah.
Nobody DM me. Nobody DM me and say, "Oh, but you could have had you could have really refuted him with this point." Listen, pal, I don't care. I don't care enough to keep on bothering to think about this. But if they want to, they could DM you. Is that true?
Yeah, no, DM me Ski Trash Jake on Insta or Line Skis. I try to get back to almost everybody on the DMs, but you got a fucking problem, your ski snap, just hit me up. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure everything's gold. So, yeah.
I did have one question about you. They said, why was I blocked? Not me, but like the viewer was like, why did Jake block me? What's your what's your protocol for blocking people?
Yeah, no, I feel like there's this phrase called "for the good of skiing," and I feel like I don't need to decide who's for the good of skiing, but like I don't know if it's the person I'm thinking they might not be too for the good of skiing there. Yeah, no, I would say like when you start hurling racial comments and like being a complete like back spectrum person there, like really bad, like with what you're saying. It's a no-brainer. Any social media manager, like social media 101, like just don't want to engage with people who are creating an unfun environment to enjoy skiing. Like, why do we need to look at that every day? Like, I want my feed on Instagram to be cool shit. I mean, for me, it's like bunny rabbits and fucking, I don't know, like cool ski shit and yeah, like arts that I like, all the art and stuff that I like. But for us, like we don't need those distractions here when we're trying to like provide this. Provide skis for people. So I'd say it's pretty simple. Like definitely don't have a lot of people blocked, but if you're kind of like instigating and just like going on and on, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to just block people. Me, Connor, and Steven, if you really want to talk to us in person, come find us on a team shoot somewhere and we can hash it out. But other than that, it's like, dude, like, yeah. Come on, if you're being racist on Instagram and saying bad things, I'm gonna block you, dude. Like, I literally have like, why are you doing that? Like, it's unbelievable to me.
This is my philosophy with it. People can say whatever they want online, and I completely support people's right to do that. But if you're gonna be an instigator, and this is just a general principle, this isn't target anyone. But if you're gonna be an instigator online, you can't be a pussy when people block you. That's just the way it goes, bro. If you're talking crazy, sometimes you get blocked, and that's it.
all aboard the crazy train to getting blocked is I don't mind the 13-year-olds asking about like getting their ass kicked in Fortnite, but like when it comes to literally just hurling racial comments and like really fucked up shit, like. Okay, and if you got a problem with one of our athletes, go deal with them. Like we're the brand here. If it's a certain point or it's a certain touch subject, we know when to intervene. But like, dude, like it's just pretty obvious. Like if I was running Coca-Cola or North Face's Instagram and somebody like said, like a hard R or this and that in the fucking comments, fuck yeah, you're getting blocked. That's fucked up. So like, yeah. Pretty apparent there with how that operates. Not to go on about this subject forever, but yeah.
There's no crying in baseball, bro. Listen, those are just the rules of the game. But we can move on from that subject. That was my 10 minutes of testing Jake's tenacity right there.
The will here. No, but seriously, like with any of this shit, like if anybody ever has any questions, like or your butt hurt about something, like dude, message me. Like literally message me on my personal, like Ski Trash Jake. I'm happy to talk to you about it. Like the things that make me excited about a brand are feeling good about the brand and feeling good about the people behind the brand too. You don't have to love everybody. You don't have to like everybody, like whatever. But like, if you got a problem, you got a question, dude, just message me. Like that's the cool thing about Line. That's what I like about us. Like, I'm a person behind the screen with problems just like you. I'm a person that gets pissed off just like you, but like line, I definitely try to keep my emotions in check, and something we all get better with over time. And yeah, but also some scenarios just demand the iron gauntlet to smash you on the face. But yeah,
Yeah, I really do not envy any job that interfaces with the public in any way, shape, or form.
it is fucking horrible, but it's also like one of the most rewarding things like ever. I can like, dude, there's been a few times I've just bawled my fucking eyes out by like getting a message from a kid like sending me photos of like, dude, I just did my first backflip. Like, do you have any tips? And like sometimes I'll reach out to the athletes and be like, yo, hey, like little homie just did this and that. I'm not a master in this. Like, what can you say about doing a dub 12? Like, and then having them message like the young gun. Like, this is a platform where I can be pissed off a lot about a lot of things, and I certainly fucking ham. But this is a platform that like it's really made my heart full. Like, knowing how much power is behind a simple word, simple phrase, a simple helping out a kid is like big time. Like, if I was a young kid and I had this big ski page get back to me, what would I want to hear? Like, what would I want to like? What would I want to hear that would make me excited? Because, like, big quote, you can use this in a little soundbite or something. But like, when I never had skiing, like skiing was always a friend when I needed a friend most. And like, that's how I approach running the line Instagram. I'm just like, like, hey, you need a buddy, you need somebody to hype you up. Like, dude, there's some kids on there that just like message me every time they like. This one kid's been trying to do an elusive for the last fucking year because Tucker, if you don't think pros have an impact on young guns, Tucker Fitzsimons, I'll fucking find this kid. He's been trying to do an elusive for like the last year. And I mention elusive because I'm trying to beat Tucker's ass and do an elusive myself and send him video evidence so he pays me. But this kid is like been trying to do one, and I sent the video of Tucker doing an elusive at like Copper or something. And like, he's getting so close. And it's like so fucking sick to see that. Like, it's so sick to see that like I'm having an impact on somebody else. I know Connor's felt that way too, probably. Like, we felt that way with like helping people. You see it at like Wendell's a lot when you go out to the camps. It's these young guns who like their grandparents paid for them to come out. Like, there's this one kid who like got paid to go out, and his fucking parents had like literally died in a car crash like 2 years earlier. And this kid's just trying to like huck himself in the park and like kick ass. And like, I remember Simeon telling me about that. I'm like fucking sitting there crying. Like, it's cool to know we can do a lot by just the stroke of some keys. So if there's anything to say on that, just kind of wanted to get that out of the way, because we talk about the negatives, these people on Instagram, but like, dude, if we can just do one good thing each day on there, if I can just make one kid smile, if I can story share a backflip, like, sure, it's not the most core or whatever, or like, it's not a pro athlete, but dude, fuck it. Kid just did a backflip. Like, he's stoked. And you know what? He got story shared online. He's going to go brag to all of his little fucking Fortnite friends probably. And like, I'm going to be terrorized by them messaging me. But like, dude, I put up with it, and it's a lot. But I can also say this really quick too, really interesting thing. If you want to dive into like social media, I'm definitely very hyperactive. Yeah, I can manage that stress. But I can tell you, like, I'm talking this really rad girl right now, Lily, and like, I love that she doesn't fuck with social media. I love meeting people that are like, I don't fuck with social media. Like, if you're in the ski world, like, I totally understand you not wanting to post that reel, but Simeon, sometimes you gotta make Papa 9x16 he can put on Instagram. But yeah, no, quick little behind the iron curtain there of things, but yeah, dude, we can make shit suck or we can make it fun. And I love just making this a fun thing running the socials. So yeah.
Yeah. No,
long-winded, but
absolutely. And harping on the negative stuff, that gets the views. People love drama. People love addressing hard issues. But that being said, and I was saying, I'll whip out the band hammer whenever I want. I've never needed to use it because people, out of the kindness of their hearts, will send just the sweetest things to my DMs.
Yeah.
Out of the blue. And it's just like, first of all, I got to do that more to show appreciation, because I appreciate it so much when people reach out and they're like, "Yo, I love this podcast. I listen to it when I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I've listened to almost every single episode, blah blah blah." And I first of all, it's a reminder that people actually listen to this, which is something.
Dude, yeah.
When you get comfortable, and I'm sure athletes can speak to this, you get comfortable making content. Sometimes you forget that there's people actually watching it. And so when I get a DM out of the blue that's like, "I love it," I'm just like, damn.
Dude, I can
speak
to this I can literally speak to this for fucking you right now.
Yeah.
I'm literally with my ex in Spokane coming back from the TGR premiere, and I fucking am listening. I listened to the Simeon episode, and then I listened to like 6 of your episodes on the way back, and I'm like, dude, this is like how he's got this. There is a momentum here. There's something here. It's just cool to hear it from a different perspective, and like that's the cool thing when you get to hear that from other people, and you get that energy through that. Like whether it's some guy behind the line account messaging you and you're getting energy for that, or it's just you on here like doing that. It's cool to see how that all pans out. It's cool, and it's a conversation, and I don't know. I was going through problems with my ex too, so it was a lot better listening to you than her. At the time. Yeah, I remember I called you at the Spokane, at one of the resorts in Spokane when I was there. Trying to find a Chick-fil-A too, and it was funny. But yeah, no, that was just reminder moment there. That was funny.
Yeah, it was great, and I just think, obviously, I mean, dude, this has been a meta episode from the start. But like, I literally cannot do this. I cannot do this without guests. And so that's why when I was like, dude, let's just have Jake on. This is going to be great. And we just chat for a while.
Yeah, no.
But my message to anyone, to the people listening, if you got some shit to say, come on the podcast, because it's, I don't know about, I have never been on the guest side, and I hope I make the guests feel comfortable, but I feel like it's fun. Like, people love hearing these stories. And like, I feel like it's like robbing the ski community to not share these stories. You know, people got to hear it. People just have to hear it. Nardwar, we have to know. You know?
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, the Nardwar deep cut. That's how I know you're legendary. I've watched every one of his videos. It's great. I think that's the thing. Yeah, like that's the thing with this platform and just us talking. Like, I'm on social media all day. Like, I spend my time revolving around, like, how do I make people interested in me? How do I make people interested in this? But it's not me, it's Line. And then, like, for you, like, the dynamic there is, like, how do I make people interested in this dynamic that is, like, a podcast? Like, how do I make people interested in this? But it's already all right there. And that's the funnest fucking part about this whole industry is, like, the stories are all out on the fucking table there. Like, you can grab anybody and somebody's got a story of talking about this or that. Like I won't even recall the story, but I remember when I was at Steel City Showdown and I was talking like about this one story about somebody at Hood, and I mentioned that like to Alex Hall, and he was like saying the same story, and I was like, holy fuck, you know that story too? And it was like such a crazy like thing, and like that's the thing. It's so cool to see. Like, this is one of the best. Like, this is why I work for Line. I might not be able to do the craziest tricks. I mean, I could throw a pretty fat fucking 3 off a big jump and some other stuff, but like, I might not be able to do the craziest tricks and this and that. But like, this community is something special. Skiing is like, just talking about skiing. Like, however your podcast evolves, which Two Plank are probably going to stay in skiing, but yeah, it's so cool, man. We're lucky every day we get to do this shit. Work in the industry, and I'm also like so excited to just see people fired up about skiing. You don't have to be a fucking pro. You come up to me like just fired up, like, okay, I'll probably give away too many of those pro codes, but like some of these young guns get me too hyped. Like, I was like, I can tell you so many of the young kids hit me up, and I'm like, they're like, oh, yeah, can I do this and that, or can I get like a discount on skis? And I'm like, I need to see a lip line too. Now, I kid you not, this one kid busted his ass like day after day. He's like, this is enough. I'm like, I need to see a lip line too. And I gave him 50% off code eventually. But like, again, best community in the world. It's so fucking sick, more or less.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're reaching the natural conclusion to the episode. I do have one viewer question I want to ask, though. It came
Oh
in.
God.
It came in later than the others. It's from Scullymon, Kirk Scully. He says,
Said this on the fucking phone call today.
He says, give us your best Connor Clayton roast.
Yeah, so for all you guys that don't know, Connor Clayton's my boss, marketing director for Line Skis. Connor Clayton's a fucked up skier. You know, he'll just go out there and just do absolutely fucking anything in the park. I mean, we always made this running joke about Connor, boss man. We always make the joke that if you want to get on the pro team, you have to beat Connor in a game of snow or something. Like Connor's so fucked up good. That being said, Connor marketing just phenomenal. He is such a type, I think, whatever the non-hyper personality is, and very organized. I think type A personality, and then I'm the fucked up B personality with manic depression and ADHD. Connor, you're the most amazing person ever. So stoked, like best boss I could ask for. But good fucking God, this man's taste in house music. I just want to like murder him. Like on team trips, we're just in the car for like 3 hours at a destination. It's like I got to listen to house music for like 6 hours in the goddamn car. I'm like, I just want to listen to Tame Impala and like some hipster shit and relax. And I'm sitting there listening to house music. Yeah, no, there's really not a lot to beat Connor up about aside from his ACL. I was joking. I'm sorry. That was a little close. Connor's tore his ACL 4 times, and this motherfucker still rips harder than like it's unbelievable. I wanna roast Connor more, but it's so hard to roast a boss that's like so. He's dealt with me for as long as he has. That should tell you just about everything you need to know. I know sometimes he gets a little fired up at me, but I love Connor. And a good message here as we kind of like end it all out. I want to tell you guys all, like, no man or woman is a fucking island. Like, build yourself a dope team, but build yourself a team that's not afraid to like talk to each other. Like, do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Say something. If you're with the right team, you're with the right friends, the right squad, you can speak openly, and your voice will be heard. And that's the beauty about Line. That's the beauty about Connor. Shouts to the Line team, Connor Clayton, Stephen Hartle, U.S. sales manager Chris Todd, Max Miller, newly added graphic designer. You're about to see some crazy shit online for him. Sean, our engineer, Farron. I always say his last name wrong. We have Kyle, other engineer, shared resource, and then Drew as well, and a million other people that I'm not naming. That are kind of the core pillar of Line, I would say, in making shit happen. And our million reps. But
everyone go check out lineskis.com, at lineskis on Instagram. And Jake Dube, thank you very much for being here.
A pleasure, guys. At Ski Trash Jake, hit me up. Let's have a chat.